Hi, in this video I want to share with you 10 tips on how to cope as a student with parental responsibilities. I myself have undergone all of these difficulties that come with being a student parent, especially while I was doing my PhD. The first one is don't do unnecessary things. One of the most unnecessary things I think that PhD students tend to do is to start cleaning or over cleaning, even if it's not on schedule, just because they felt overwhelmed. I've spoken to other PhD students who felt the same way. Their eyes would start to just take on a very microscopic level of detail and see the smallest grime on their window or the dirt on their counter that they wouldn't usually see if they weren't overwhelmed with, let's say, some impending data analysis or a literature review. But if you find yourself in a situation where you feel overwhelmed and just want to do something like cleaning the house, then stop yourself. Take a deep breath, go back to your desk, leave those cleaning materials on the floor or on the counter, remove those cleaning gloves, or sit on your desk and start those 5 minutes of highlighting probably the things that you want to analyze on that transcript or collecting some literature for your review. If you start the ball rolling with those 5 minutes, then you will most likely continue to the next 25 minutes. Another unnecessary activity that you shouldn't really be doing while doing your PhD is to make food that you are not used to making. It can be either cooking or baking. What I mean is you'll have to be looking it up on the recipe websites. You'll have to be picking up ingredients from the store, and you'll have to be trying to figure out the right way to cook or bake them. Then you'll have to do it over and over just to perfect it, or those sorts of things. You don't have to do these things, and it's quite unnecessary during a time when you're also learning the ropes of research. So reserve those for a time when you have, let's say, a good break, like a 5-day break, but don't do it regularly so as to save you time and to save you all of that effort. You can just stick to those things that you're used to doing or make a few modifications on the recipes that you already know. A third thing that I think is quite unnecessary is taking on a part-time job that you don't really need. I know we have a lot of financial concerns, but if your PhD is funded or if it's something that you have considered be just an extra on top of what you already have, then just think about it really hard. If you're concerned about finishing your PhD on time, preserving your mental health and the health of your children, then adding a part-time job to what you're already doing now might be something that you have to consider, especially if you already have a main job. Now, I've given you an idea of some of the things that you might want to consider not doing while you're doing your PhD. Now let's talk about some practical things that you might want to do to make your life easier as a parent at home. Use boxes to transport things from one room to another. I used to live in a 2-story house. Sometimes I would forget the stuff that I need to be bringing downstairs. So having a box or a basket where you can put stuff in, especially if you have a toddler, you have many things lying around, or you have to do a lot of things, you have to clean up. It's handy if you have a basket or a box where you can put stuff in to transport from one room to another. After finishing your work in a room, make sure to check the other room. This might feel simplistic, but it's just the case that some of us might feel like we've accomplished a lot of things, let's say cleaning in one room, when the next room still hasn't been tidied up. For example, if you finished doing stuff in the kitchen, then you might neglect the clothes that are still hanging outside. So that's just a simple tip to make sure that you're as productive as you can. One caveat though is this can become very tiring. It's more advisable to do this on the days when you have had more rest and have more time to do many things. This next tip is something that a lot of parents already do, but we do need reminders from time to time. It's to teach ourselves and our children to place things just in specific places or spots in the house. So they have to learn that the coats need to go at the back of the door where the coat hangers are, or at the corner in the living room. The key to the house or to the car should be placed on a spot next to the television or something like that. So you have to make that rule up so that they can follow it, and it's, as I said, it's going to save you a ton of time. Instead of people rummaging for where the keys are or where their gloves are in the very crucial moments where you have to be going in like 10 minutes, then they would know where they are. And did I say that's going to save you a ton of time? The next tip is to have some sort of routine. I know it's difficult for people to establish a routine, especially during a very chaotic time where everyone is busy, everyone is doing lots of different things. But if you could just have, some type of routine where the kids can expect that this is going to happen, mom's going to pick me up at this particular time, or every Saturday we wake up a teeny bit late and things like that. And that is going to be helpful for the children to know what to expect emotionally as well. It's going to help them build the confidence of when to expect something or when not to expect something. For yourself, and as you do your PhD work, you can set particular times of the day or the week when you will be focused. You'll be in the library. So it's not just going to be a set time, it's going to be a set place as well, where you can do the stuff that you need to do on a fairly regular basis. So this is going to make things a bit easier for you. And as I said, if your setup doesn't allow you to have a very specific type of routine or very rigid way of doing things on a daily basis, like always on time or on schedule, then at least use this routine as a guide to help you and your family know what to expect. I actually have a video on how you can set up a routine for your family and yourself during your PhD. Please check it out. I'm going to put the link to it in the description below. The next step is to always have time for self-care. Ideally, this would be daily. I suggest those types of self-care activities that'll help you breathe naturally. What do I mean by this? We are always reminded to do deep breathing, but sometimes we forget. We can't set aside a time for it, or it just feels so artificial to try to breathe in, breathe out deeply without any reason. But remember those times when you did deep breathing without being taught or without being asked to? That's probably when you were doing some relaxing things. When you inhale a very sweet smelling thing, or the vapors of, let's say, mint or another different type of essential oil or a mixture of essential oils, that makes you breathe deeply and that makes you relax at the same time. So, and I think this is very helpful for us. Another thing that can help you and your kids breathe deeply naturally is to walk in the park, or to walk leisurely in a place where you feel relaxed and you can look around. For people who are deprived of parks, I know especially those people who live in very cramped, tight cities, and their city doesn't really provide natural sceneries for them, then you could probably go to the mall and stroll around. But I don't know if deep breathing is going to work there. But that's just one relaxing activity you could do with your kids. Of course, go to the park, go somewhere green, go somewhere there is sunlight. That might help you breathe easier and get some fresh air. Also, one thing that I discovered recently, even after having graduated, I still do have very busy days. As a lecturer and as an academic, and of course as a parent, I still have a lot of days when I have to do so many things. One of the things that I use to really unwind, sometimes quite literally to unwind my muscles that are really stuck up, is to use gua sha. Gua sha is a Chinese medical tool that is used in different parts of the body to do a self-massage. Most of the time you can do self-massage, but somebody can do it for you if you hire a professional. But having a gua sha tool and having some mild oils to go along with the gua sha as it glides on your body. By the way, it's not just for the face, it's also for other parts of the body. It helps you breathe and relax. It helps you just breathe a sigh of relief once those very tender muscles are massaged, or once you put it on your forehead or on the temples to do a little bit of a self-massage there on the jaws. It helps you breathe more and it helps you relax, really. So gua sha is one of the things that has helped me recently. I discovered it through a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, and I really recommend looking it up. And I'll also, please write in the comments whether you want me to post some tips on how to use gua sha to relax and to help you de-stress on a daily basis. There are two types of moments when you can do your relaxing activities. The first one is the unplanned kind, where you would be maybe on a queue to the ice cream store and maybe you're waiting for something, then that's an opportunity for you to relax. Those micro moments of relaxation throughout the day, you can find them and use those small moments and small opportunities to breathe deeply. So when you have the opportunity to do these things, then do them, especially when you're waiting for something. And the other one are scheduled breaks or scheduled relaxation sessions. In my case, I do it in the evening after I have tucked my kid to sleep. That was when he used to be a toddler. And so when he was a toddler, he would usually need, of course, the parents would need to tuck the kids to sleep. And after I do that, I go to the living room and I lay down my yoga mat and I do a bit of a yoga session for around 30 minutes and I drink some tea. So that was the way for me to unwind on a daily basis, and it was scheduled. So I recommend that you do both types, the unplanned one and the scheduled one, every day so that you can unwind. You won't like it if your body starts to react in some negative ways if you didn't unwind regularly. So you have to respect that these things are necessary for you to be efficient and effective in what you do. And if you do not attend to your relaxation needs daily, if your nervous system is always wound up and very tight, then it's going to be difficult for you to work at the level that you want to work on your PhD of So do these types of relaxation on a daily basis. Have a list of go-to people that you trust, that in case you won't be able to pick up your kids or there would be something that you would need help with, then you can just give them a message. Build a community around you who understand the enormity of the responsibilities that you have to be doing, and make sure that you trust those people, and they'd usually, of course, be the people that love you and maybe your relatives or your friends. So have a list of those people. There was a time when I had to rush to my child's school and pick him up because I forgot to pick him up, and I was really in sort of a panic, but I was really happy to find out that the daycare at their school took him in without me having to say it, and that was so amazing, and I was so grateful for that. So if you have people that you trust, you can probably arrange for them to do something for your children in case you won't be there. In my case, after that incident, I just asked the daycare in my child's school to go ahead and bring my kid to the daycare if I wasn't there yet. I mean, the after school club. It's really helpful for me, and I'm really grateful for the people who supported me throughout the PhD. It was a very challenging time. It leads me to how to manage guilt. Either way, when you are doing your PhD, doing some interviews or going somewhere to gather data or taking care of your child, you will feel guilty that you're not doing the other thing. This is proven in the literature and in my research. I have seen this a lot and I've experienced this a lot as well. So my research is actually on PhD students who are parents. So my research is a mix of autoethnography and ethnography, where I explored my own experiences as well as other people's experiences who have a similar profile or background to mine. And so what I discovered, what I saw in the literature, and in what I felt myself, and in what my participants, my interviewees also felt, was that they experienced feeling heavy guilt whichever way they went, whether they were doing the PhD or whether they were taking care of their children. Then they felt guilty. It's like when I was in the park taking care of my kid and looking after him, I'd be thinking in my head of the PhD, like, what am I doing here? Whenever I was also in the library and not being with my kid, I would think about him. So there was just this tug, this pull that always occurred, whatever my situation was. So this is how you can deal with it. It's to think that either way, you are doing this for your children. You can also think of it as when you're doing this, you're also doing this for your own future and for the achievements, the things. You have to go back to the things that you wanted to achieve. And it's a time of reflection. It's a time when you have to have this micro time, this small amount of time dedicated to reflect on why you're doing this thing and why, in spite of not being able to do the other thing, then this is ultimately, hopefully, going to lead to something better for you and your family. Actually, I remember my friend who was in the same predicament, and we were talking, and she already finished her PhD. So she was recalling that at that time she shouldn't have been that stressed out. She should have enjoyed it more. And so I'm telling you now, try to enjoy it as much as you can. Enjoy those micro moments where you hug your kid, where you enjoy the time with them, and also those moments of discovery when you find something in the data that is amazing. Try to enjoy these moments. Try to do the ikigai way of things. I don't know if you've heard of the ikigai concept. It's the Japanese concept where they enjoy the moments, and in these moments you live in these moments at that point. You try to find the most enjoyable things as you do them, and also that you think, as I said, reflect on why these things are at this point in your life, the things that you have to do. I'm not saying this to ask you to just never stop or never do anything that doesn't contribute towards the PhD. You can't be a robot. You have to relax. You have chosen to do this in spite of. Now that you are in it, now that you're doing it, you focus on the things that inspire you towards reaching the finish line, yes, but also towards approaching things in a positive way now, in a way that you are going to enjoy and process things now. So this is the moment when being mindful of what is just amazing at this point is. So being mindful of those things that are amazing at this moment and the opportunities. So guilt is part of it, part of the journey. But also you have to balance that guilt with enjoyment, balance that guilt with the appreciation of what opportunities you have. Now, the last tip is to give your children a hug from time to time. Both you and your children would need support from each other. And being the parents, we have to be initiating these positive moments. Hugging gives you a lot of benefit. So scientifically, oxytocin levels rise whenever you give a hug or you receive one. So that's one. It contributes to your health. And more importantly, your children will feel that they are part of your journey. So they will feel like, although you are stressed out and they see it and they feel it sometimes, they will feel that they're contributing towards the achievements that all of you are trying to achieve. So those are my 10 tips. If you have anything that you can add to these tips to other parents or students, I really appreciate if you can provide them in the comments below. But for now, I will give you this time to focus and reflect. And thank you, and I'll see you again in the next video.